Well, how did this whole thing start? I guess. I mean, that's a good question. So,
How did this whole thing
I guess
start?
we all know, right? We all know how it started. We all read it and we all got it drilled into our heads.
I hear you all question about it. We started in a little house in New Rochelle. We sat at a table on knees together. It was so close a space. We had to talk to each other. Say, hey, let's do something. We're rebels now because we wanted to be the first fraternity the college ever had. So we had to decide how we were going to do that. We wrote what we call the Constitution,
Right.
which wound up being that and bylaws and rules for a fraternity house we had dreams of getting. And then that became an unwieldy piece of, I don't know how many pages we had in it, 75. And it was something the college would never be interested in.
Right.
We had to rewrite it, and then we rewrote it again until we finally had a honed down, acceptable constitution that the student council would accept. Glenn came in and he knew all these people at the college. He worked for the college,
Right.
so he was able to fast forward it through, knew the people to talk to. He knew basically what they wanted to see. So we said, let's give them what they want to see, and we'll go from there.
In 1966, the situation at Iona College with regard to fraternities was an attitude of intolerance. The enrollment of the college had been steadily increasing without provisions for a unifying bond of fellowship among the numerous boarding students scattered throughout the neighborhood, dormitories being non-existent. Since the founding of the college in 1940, the only centralizing organization for the over 400 year-round resident students was the inactive and unenthusiastic Boarders Club, officially named the St. Columba Lodging Society. From the Boarders Club, Sigma Delta Phi fraternity was founded. Over 40 students convened for the purpose of advancing the idea of a fraternity, an idea fostered originally by John Manley and Steve Connor. Fellowship flourished among these men, but it was not until organizational procedures and regulations established by Glenn Carrozza served to create an atmosphere of dedication to the service of the Iona College community. The name Sigma Delta Phi comprised the Greek letters selected to represent the motto, scholarship, dedication, and fellowship. The coat of arms consists of the burning torch of dedication, open book of scholarship, and chain of fellowship. The torch has 13 illuminations representing the later charter members. The book, bearing the college graphics IC, represents the fraternity Bible open to Deuteronomy 26:5 and Proverbs 17:17. Respectively, these direct quotes are used in affirmation during induction into the fraternity. The chain bears 9 links, 4 facing frontward representing the initial founders, and 5 sideways representing the later 5 founders. Centered above the chain is inscribed the year 1967 for the date of official organization and recognition by the student government of Iona College as an authorized on-campus student organization. These symbols are placed in a diamond-shaped sextagon, broader at the base for strength and stability, while narrowing upward as an indication of perpetual aspirations and progress. The name is indicated with the 3 Greek letters to provide the borders. The colors were chosen to represent the main aspects of life, the extremes through which maturity is attained, black for the disappointing failures, and gold for the more successful achievements they will bear. The official date and time of corporation with Iona College is November 9, 1967 at 6 o'clock in the evening. And just as it was the hour of dusk, the sign of the end of day, was it also the sign of the end of an era, An era of non-involvement and unconcern had come to an end on the Iona College campus with the founding, organizing, and recognizing of Sigma Delta Phi fraternity. From the moment Sigma Delta Phi became recognized as an on-campus organization by the Iona College community, the fraternity flourished. The brothers' reach extended into every facet of college life. As a charitable group, Sigma sponsored a fundraising drive to aid members of the Mount Carver Baptist Church of New Rochelle. Under the leadership of Ron DeFeo, the fraternity organized a baby carriage walk to benefit the Muscular Dystrophy Association. As good Iona citizens, the brothers also supported other clubs when they donated money to the struggling hockey team so they could finish out their season. And thinking outside the box, the guys even donated a keg of beer to the club with the highest percentage of its members participating in the annual blood drive. Sigma Delta Phi brothers held lofty positions in student government, the yearbook, and the school newspaper. As student council president in the early 70s, George Morris helped bridge the gap between the administration, faculty, and the students. Later in the decade, Larry Downs held the same position. In the 90s, Brother Frank Saya, in the role of junior SGA representative, was the first to speak up in making Iona a handicap-accessible school. In 1983, John McNamara was elected co-editor of the annual yearbook, the ICAN. On the school newspaper, the Ionian, many of the brothers held staff positions. Founder Glenn Carrozza was an associate editor, Steve Grocke business manager, but the highest title was held by Fred Silva as editor-in-chief. In the arena of organized sports, SDP was a force to be reckoned with. In the early years, many of the brothers ran track and field. Guys like Dan Bodie, the late little man John Grogan, and Hollywood Hayden led the way. But perhaps the greatest athlete Iona ever produced was Sigma's very own Ron Pascal. A member of the Iona College Hall of Fame, Ron is credited for single-handedly establishing Iona track and field as an elite program. Brothers also excelled in baseball, rowing, and of course football. In perhaps the finest season in Iona intramural football history, Sigma Delta Phi won the championship for a second time without losing a game. When he could no longer play football, Brother Buffalo Bill Schneider, with the help of active brothers like Bill Zengel and John Danzy, founded the very popular Iona Rugby Club. From that moment on, rugby had become the sport of choice for the majority of brothers.